Alright guys, I've been kind of lost with videos lately. I haven't filmed a video in over a month now. I just put out too many fire dropshipping trainings and I'm out of shit to talk about. So this video is going to be for you business owners that have already made 100K or more, or you're currently making 100K per year and you're wondering what to do with your money. We're just going to have this discussion today. Even if you're not there yet, you may want to sit here and watch this because this video is going to give you a lot of perspective on what to do when you do get to that point and maybe help you change your strategy for your life a little bit. Please keep in mind, unlike my other videos that are very tactical and strategical, this video is strictly theoretical. I'm going to be talking about a lot of my ideas and opinions, and these things are not factual, they are more theoretical, and I think they work in theory. At least they've been working great for me, but obviously you may have your own opinions, your own experiences that combat these, and of course I'm open to hearing all of these, but this video is going to be basically breaking down how and why I'm going to be very wealthy one day, and basically the mindset shifts that I've been through my journey so far as a self-made entrepreneur with businesses and investments, etc. So whether you're somebody who is just starting out or somebody that has already made a bunch of money, or you're currently coming into a bunch of money through your business, you may want to pay attention to this video. Now, when you start making money and start seeing success, there's a few general routes that most people go. And yes, we are talking about what we are actually doing with the money that we are making. Route number one is essentially blowing all of your money as you make it and basically just balling out. Number two is taking the money out of the business, out of whatever is producing the income, and investing it in other places or saving the money for future investments. The number three thing, which you'll hear a lot of people talk about, is brutally reinvesting back into your business and basically just living like you're poor. Now, if you are somebody that's made a bunch of money, I'm sure that you've had this debate in your head a million times. Which is better? Is there an order that you can do these? What's good? What's bad? What are the pros and cons? And of course, just like myself, I've been through all three of these stages and I have a unique perspective on what's better and when and why you should do it. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be talking about exactly what I did when I first started making money, how I transitioned into basically doing these things in order. You know, first I balled out and blew all my money. Then I took all the money out of my business and invested it. And now where I'm at right now is basically just reinvesting back into the business and living like I'm broke. Now, of course, just like anything, there's pros and cons with each of these options, and it's all very, very theoretical. You know, one person can argue it's better to blow all your money depending on where you're at in life, and you can argue that it's better to invest it into real estate or stocks, or it's better to invest it in crypto, or it's better to reinvest into the business or into yourself to get better as a person. Many people have different opinions, but you know, also keep in mind, you can do all three of these things at once, or two of these things at once. Like for example, you can save a portion of your money and you can blow a portion of your money. You can save a portion, blow a portion, and invest a portion. It all depends on, you know, how much you're making, what stage you're in life. And many parts of my life, I have done multiple of these things. There were some points where I was just saving and blowing at the same time. You know, a certain portion of my income I would save, a certain portion I would blow. But there's a general order in which I followed these, and that is in the exact order that I explain them to you. Now, my point of this is to share with you my experiences during each of these phases in the order that I did them, and kind of how it's worked out for me, because I think it's worked out very, very well. And I would love to hear where you're at or what you think is best, especially if you're somebody who is going through a similar thing and if you're in a similar experience. Now, let's talk about the number one option, basically just going out, balling out, and blowing all of your money. It's fun. It often ends in a lot of new connections, new friendships that you can then use down the road to make more money with, and partnerships and whatnot. So it's not a complete waste of money, right? You get lots of memories. You might walk away with some material assets, you know, cars, watches, things that you can later on, you know, exit from and get a little bit of your money back, so you're not just completely screwing it all. And you also get experiences in life, which I think a lot of these things are very, very important. And you can't basically just be a robot who just saves all of his money and invests all of their money, because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do that. I think there's a time and place to save your money, and you know, especially when you start making really good money, it's very easy to just go crazy with all this shit. So the best part about this stage of like blowing your money and just kind of acting like a fool is chances are you've had goals for a really, really long time, whether it's like a car or watch or good food, traveling, whatever it is that you want to do. And this allows you to scratch the itch and basically just move on, like graduate past the point of needing to blow your money for, some self-validation or achieving a goal or, whatever these things are. Just scratch the itch so that you can move on to more important things, like investing or saving. And there's actually a lot of value in this, which I actually learned when I met with an ex-NBA player in Los Angeles when I was about 17, 18 years old, like in that age range. I asked him like, hey, should I be saving? Should I be spending? Should I get this car? Should I do this? And he was like, look, man, just blow your money. Like, don't do it forever, but just do it for a little bit, scratch the itches, get them out of the way while you're young. So there is value to this. Buy the M4, buy the Rolex, travel first class, stay in the nice mansions, eat amazing food. I did every single one of these things pretty much in that order, and it was very well worth it. And essentially what it resulted in was like the first 100,000, 150,000 that I made just completely went down the drain. I didn't save a single penny of it. There were points where I was making 10 to 15 grand a month in profit, like very early on in my career, where I had, $4,000 in my bank account because it was just all gone. And obviously, taxes and whatnot, I was backed up on all of it. But again, I wouldn't say it was stupid because it allowed me to scratch all the dumb itches while I was young, while I was still early in my career. That way I can start taking things more seriously and not worry about those things down the road. So I wouldn't say that it's stupid, but 100% you need to know when it's time to call it quits and start taking your future more seriously. And 100%, in my opinion, I think that this is probably one of the first best things that you can do once you start making a lot of money. Now, obviously I wouldn't recommend blowing it all, but I am saying that, if you start making 20, 30, 50, $100,000 a month, buy that car, buy the watch. Like, it's good if you can do things that either give you experience or, a material thing that you can later on sell so you're not completely screwed. Like, these types of things have ROI. They're just not direct financial ROI. And you need to understand that. And that's why it's not such a bad thing to do this first, because then when you understand that you need to invest in real estate or other things, you're not going to be, tempted to get a car instead, or like get a watch instead. You're going to have those itches scratched and you can move on. Now, the number 2 thing that you can do is take money out of your business and invest it or save it, basically just put it into a nest egg. And this is basically the second thing that I did. Like, right after I got out of the phase of blowing 100% of my money, I started holding on to it and trying to save as much as I possibly could. I actually wrote down how much money I was making and how much I was saving, and it was a very high percentage, like 80, 90% of the money that I had coming in, I would instantly throw into savings. And this was a good phase. I started educating myself on real estate and different investments to make, stocks, all these things. And real estate is basically what I ended up choosing. And my mindset behind moving into this stage was, hey, I have a goal in life. I want to be very wealthy, and I don't want to be like very wealthy maybe if something potentially works out X and X. I want to be wealthy for sure. Like, I want to know that I'm going to hit this goal and I'm going to be in a spot of financial freedom in the future. And I made the decision that real estate was the best way to do this after doing a little bit of research and learning that, you can save up $100,000 and go invest it in real estate and get cash flow and get appreciation and loan pay down and tax benefits and like all these different things out of it. I instantly knew that I wanted to, make 100,000 and then go put it into real estate. And I, at this point, knew that I could have already had a property or two if I didn't go and blow all my money at first. But like I said, it's scratch the itch. It was something that I don't really regret doing, but that's okay. Now, one of the mindsets behind this is basically getting rich guaranteed and then figure out how to expedite it later. Now, like I said, you can invest money back into your business and try to go bigger and bigger and bigger and just keep on risking it all over and over again. Kind of another unique path is just like taking the cash while it's coming in and just putting it away for, a rainy day, or putting it into investments, things that can basically guarantee your success in the future. Now, again, pulling money out of a business does slow the business growth. Is it better to reinvest 100% of your funds back into what you're doing or into your education or hiring mentors? Like, yes, I would say that you will get a way higher return by doing this, but you're not building that investment, safety nest egg over here, which is what I really, really wanted to do. I wanted to get rich for sure and make sure that I was 100% good for the rest of my life over here before I started going really, really big and taking massive risks in business. I know this is anti-entrepreneurial. I know that this is anti-risk, and I probably lost out on millions and millions of dollars worth of business growth by buying all the real estate that I have, and I understand this, but I understand the pros and cons, and I know what's better for me personally. And I know to some of you it sounds crazy. Like if you had hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest, you wouldn't be questioning like, oh, should I put it in the business or the real estate or whatever? You would just put it somewhere and hope that it does something. But this is a real dilemma that people face, and I know that if you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, you're probably watching this like, wow, this is super relatable, and I'm really interested to see what this guy has to say. So let me show you how that worked out for me. I basically promised myself that the first $1 million that I make, I'm going to invest 100% of it into properties. And I'm going to talk about now what that looks like after I've already done it, because this was basically my plan, and that's exactly what I did. Like I said, 80-90% of my income straight into a savings, and then once the savings reached like 100K, 200K, I would take that money and go buy properties with it. So I basically just did that for like 2 or 3 years, and eventually I had invested $500,000 of my own cash that directly came from my businesses, and of course $500,000 out of $1 million in profit after taxes, living expenses, whatnot. You're going to be able to invest about 500K. So I've invested 500K. This leaves me with a cash flow of about $7,500 a month if it's maximized. Now I am living in 2 of my units right now, so that's not exactly what it is, but if I moved out and rented them, then that's essentially what the cash flow would be. And my total capital gain up until this point has been $680,000. So since making that goal of basically making $1 million and then investing 100% of it into real estate, I have now amassed, over $1 million in equity in properties based on what I invested in and how much they went up in value, and also about $6,000 to $7,000 a month in very steady cash flow that I can live off of and basically use to cover all of my expenses. As you can see, now I'm essentially in that, unbreakable position of financial freedom where my business can fail, everything I do can fail for the rest of eternity, and my bills are still going to be paid. Not only does this little nest egg that I sacrificed all the business growth to grow provide cash flow to cover my living expenses, but the equity also almost doubled ever since I bought those properties over the last few years. Thank you, COVID. So when you look at the cash flow that it provides me, the nice equity growth, and you also add on a 6 to 12 month emergency fund of personal expenses, and then another 12 months of emergency fund for each property, then the castle is pretty much bulletproof at this point. And this is exactly why my philosophy was, get rich guaranteed first, like build the nest egg, make sure that you're actually good first, and then figure out how to expedite it later. And the theory here is that by pulling money out of my business early on, I was able to build this nest egg that is basically going to allow me to go out and deploy more money and more risk and all these different things into my businesses to then have that vertical over here after I already have the nest egg and the safety net over here. I know that it's very theoretical and bullshit, and maybe this doesn't make any sense to you, but basically I'm saying that I could have went the route of just reinvesting all that $500,000 back into my business, and I probably would have made it back and a lot more, but I went the route of going into the real estate, building up the nest egg, and now I am in a position where I have that nest egg. I no longer need to slow the growth of my business, and I can now dump everything that I have into my business so that I can have the maximum growth possible with the least amount of risk possible. And the only reason I'm able to do that with little to no risk is I have the nest egg over here now. And this leads us into the next kind of phase or stage, whatever you want to call it, which is reinvesting brutally into the business and living like you are poor. This is a mindset that you hear from a lot of guys, a lot of big guys, Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy, all these guys really preach this strategy, like basically just dumping everything back into it, education, advertising, marketing, building your team, like just spending all the money back into the business. So understand this, now that you've made $1 million, you've invested $1 million, you need to understand something, because your goal initially was to, basically make a bunch of money, and then you transition that into making $1 million and investing $1 million, and then you did that. And once you do that, it shouldn't really be your goal anymore to just make money, take it, and then invest it, because like I said, this slows the growth of your business and makes it very difficult to actually get to the next level in business. If you're constantly pulling money out of it, you're taking literal breathing room out of your business and putting it into your real estate. It's very selfish short term. I'm sure that if you just ran that rat race for a while, I'm sure that you would be fine and you'd probably crush it over time. But in the short term, we know that if you spend $100,000 on a property, it might make you $1,000 a month. It might, whatever, versus spending $100,000 in advertising or building a team or whatever. You're going to get a much higher return over here, at least in the short term. And then whatever your return is on this, you can then, buy more properties with. Okay. So essentially, from a business perspective, buying real estate does not make sense because you're much better off reinvesting back into your business. And this is where shit gets very dangerous, because it's very, very easy to fall into the business owner and real estate investor or stock investor or crypto investor cycle of just making money and then investing and repeating. It's basically just a big rat race of like generating money, spending money, generating money, investing money, generating money, investing money. And you're never stopping this cycle. Whereas if you just generated money here, leave the real estate alone, reinvest over here, get the money up here, right? And then this can keep going. And then once you're all the way up here, you can start putting money back into real estate. The point is, you don't need to be in this rat race because you have the nest egg. You have the money invested. You can now go out there and take massive risks on your business and reinvest 100% of those funds and live like shit. You don't need to live a lavish lifestyle. You've already scratched all those itches. You basically already done all the things that allows you to act like an absolute animal. And honestly, this puts you in a very powerful position. You have very little to lose by risking everything, at least everything that you have in your business. You're not tempted by stupid things because you already scratched those itches early on. And this is basically the position that I have, lined myself to be in, where I can just focus on business and just grow the hell out of it. And I can reinvest my funds. I don't have to worry about shit. My bills are paid and I can just grow a big ass fucking business without worrying about risk, without worrying about losing my ass and being broke or needing to go back and get a job or any of that bullshit that I never ever wanted to do in the first place. And if you fuck up, you got your real estate keeping you afloat. Another thing that I think is worth mentioning, that now in this stage, I am still consistently buying real estate property. Well, Noah, how are you reinvesting back into the business and also buying property? Well, earlier I said that the equity in my properties have gone up. So right now I'm currently selling 2 of my properties that is going to allow me to buy at least 4 more. So again, I'm selling 2, going to be able to buy 4 more with the proceeds that I'm getting from those 2. So now I'm able to use 100% of the business's money to grow the business, and I can also use 100% of the real estate money to grow the real estate. The real estate portfolio is growing itself at this point. So when you get to the stage, things get very, very exponential, and you're able to grow very, very quickly on both levels. So if you're somebody who is coming into making money, whether it's from e-commerce or an agency or any type of business out there, I hope that this video is valuable for you. And if you're somebody who, has an opinion on these things, like number 1, if you are starting to make money, are you blowing your money? Are you saving it? Are you reinvesting it into real estate, stocks, crypto, or are you reinvesting it directly back into the business? Like, what stage are you in? Do you think that this is the right thing for you to be doing? And do you think that the order in which I talked about these things in this video is truly the best way to do it? Because I think it's pretty brilliant. And honestly, I love the position that I put myself in. And I think that the stage now of letting the real estate grow itself and also me just reinvesting and going crazy with the business is probably the best place that I can be in. If you disagree, if you think you have better opinions or better options, better experiences, whatever, I would love to have a discussion about this in the comment section. And you know what, since most of you are fairly high level, I would love to invite you to just send me a message and we can have a discussion about this personally, because I love talking about, theory and life plans and life strategies. These are things that are not right or wrong. It's more based on personal preference. And, a lot of different people have different experiences with different things. So I wanted to talk about this theory. I hope it was valuable to you. Share it with one of your successful friends if you haven't yet. And this is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.